Alright, got a little bit of time here at the end of the day before a big dyno rental tomorrow. So gonna try and get connected to the ECU in this thing, and it's got kind of a long history of everything that's been going on, so I'm sure I'm gonna have to do a firmware update and the Lord only knows what else. It's been sitting for about a week or so, and 3 of the 4 tires are flat. It's probably too dark to see in there, but got a Terminator X ECU. So let me see if I can connect to it and see what we got in there for a file and see how old the firmware is. This plan might be short-lived. He doesn't have a USB to CAN cable, and the one I keep around for myself is in that car on the lift, and you gotta climb up onto the dash and stuff to get it, so I might change course here and damn it. I used the ladder and got it out, so those of you who either have or want Terminator X, you have to buy this cable that for whatever reason isn't included, so make sure you get that. So hopefully we don't have to do any like wiring diagnostics on this thing, because it's I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It kind of horrifies me a little bit. So Lord only knows what's what and what's going where. So here's the ECU. Let's see. Hopefully the battery's not dead. Called that one. Usually it's not that big of a deal with Holley. It's like a 45-minute long procedure to upgrade firmware. But don't really have a workaround, so I'm gonna go ahead and update this. Fun. Alright, let's see if this thing will cooperate. Just trying to do it through the laptop and not through the SD card. So first thing you always want to do is go to File, Save Global Folder As. I just start a new folder for each car. Considering this will probably be the one and only Corrolla I have with this system on it, the folder name Corrolla should be fine. So it's already saved, and now we go to this, looks like a recycling logo, upgrade firmware, and it basically is telling you if you didn't save the file you're going to lose it. Yes. No. Probably need to turn the power on to do this. This is pretty boring. I'll just come back once this is done. So everything crashed and blew up, so I had to do the firmware update the old school way with the SD card. It's pretty easy, it's just tedious. So now I'm just going to follow the directions it says on here, and hopefully everything will work. Firmware updates are always scary because there's always the potential to brick the ECU, and then that's just a mess. ECU has no power, so let the games begin. Alright, I think we dodged a bullet. Everything still had power, so basically just deleted everything from everything and then reinstalled everything and then manually forced a firmware update, and we got power back to the ECU, so I think we're going to be okay now. Battery's dead, it won't start. Just kind of assumed that that would be the case. There's basically no gas in it. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that. Man, I don't know if you can see that. There's like, looks like an oil pan like with spun bearings. That's what kind of amount of metal shavings are in this oil fuel tank. Yeah, there you go, you can kind of see it there. So hopefully it's got good fuel filters on it, and they're gonna need to be replaced. Damn it. Huh. Now it doesn't seem like the battery's dead, it just seems like everything exploded. This sucks. Literally, everything has lost power. Must be like a main breaker or something somewhere. Alright, let me look around and see what I can find. So there's no breaker. I guess I got lucky to find this so quick, but just this power wire, even though everything's tight, you wiggle it and it turns the car on and off. So I don't feel real good about that, but let's see. So closing the door is going to smash into wires. It's scary. I'm also not certain I'm going to be able to get the wheels off to put it on the dyno. So before I even get to that point, I'm going to try and see what other kind of hurdles we're going to have to jump over. I guess the ECU is not controlling the fuel pump. Oh, that doesn't work either. Everything's wrong. No map sensor. Alright, so it looks like they're attempting to run the internal sensor. And we're actually set up internal here. This is just, for now, the calibration that it came with. I figure since it starts and runs, I'd kind of figure out what's going on, especially with things like this. And then based off of the description of the problems he was having, I mean, this, you see it just cut out. It's not connected anymore. This car's, I mean, I'm just going to call it now. This car needs to be rewired, but let's see if we can at least get it running better than it is now. So what's interesting is I was told that this was tuned by a shop. And here's where we have the map sensor going. Unbelievable. So we have no intake. Which means we have no air temp. I'm gonna have some work to do on this one, but just hooking this map sensor wire up correctly might fix a lot of what he was unhappy with. Geez, the oil pan is like probably 1.5 inches from the ground. Anybody that's ever been to Atco or Englishtown is familiar with how wild these cars are. You couldn't pay me enough to ride in this thing from here to the stop sign at the end of the parking lot, but I bet if you have balls the size of an elephant, it'd probably be a lot of fun to take down the racetrack. Alright, so basically I've already fixed the primary reason he's here. As you can only imagine, with the map sensor not working, anytime you would hit the throttle, it would just stumble and shit its pants. It wouldn't do anything. And then it was trying to idle at 120 VE or something, because it was, at 100 kPa, or so it thought, but it wasn't actually. So the fuel corrections were maxed out. And overall it still needs an endless amount of work, but like I say, just fix the primary issue at hand. So now as long as I can get the wheels off of the car, then I can put it on the dyno and see what's going to happen. I don't know why it keeps dropping the signal, and it has just a standard Terminator X ECU, but it is like I think it's a 4L80, and has some sort of other computer in here to control that. So I'm really hoping that I don't have to get involved in that, and hopefully we can just calibrate the engine. Alright, about to try and put the Corrolla on the dyno. Just had to move a few cars around to get this in this spot, and I think it's the scariest car I've ever driven. Damn near put it through the wall, as I found out the hard way it has no brakes. So I got the wheels off, but these aren't wheel studs. They're just like normal bolts, and you can see they're kind of like, they're just backing themselves out rather than tightening up. It's just a lot of stuff going on. Fuel lines are looped around. This is the ground wire for the fuel pump. It's just a few inches long, and it's got wires twisted together with just electrical tape. It's grounded with a self-tapping screw, not even into the car, but just into like the random metalwork they got going on. Fuel lines not coming out of like the back of the sump, it's just coming out of the bottom. So that probably won't be an issue on the dyno, but it could potentially be on the road. This one's just not even going to anything. So I don't know. I would be horrified to see this thing go down the racetrack, or even really drive around for that matter. This type of stuff, it's never me like trying to like talk down on anyone's stuff, but this is safety stuff. And then kind of the whole point of everything I do on this channel is just sort of showing my day-to-day and what I go through, and this is a perfect example, exactly why it makes scheduling stuff so hard. You never know what you're going to be up against. I got a little lucky on this one, since I really only get one shot for it to be all the way cold and warm up. I figured rather than unplugging everything, letting it warm up and setting everything, I would just make the assumption the throttle body set right, and then kind of take a first stab at it. And ironically, it did everything that I wanted it to do. So I am using the idle air control valve, and I'm not using the idle spark, whatever the shit they call their thing with the PID control, just using a custom table, and then again basing that off of coolant temperature and throttle position and RPM. So So far so good on the idle. I've said in some other videos that I think the idle control on the Holley systems is probably one of the weaker links. Like in this example where it's working pretty good, even though I'm kind of backdooring the way that they set it up for you. It's doing what I need it to do, but occasionally you'll come across a car where it doesn't give you enough control. And there's some things that I would like to see them add to it, but I don't know, for this one it works good. So going to do some steady state stuff, some load control. Hopefully the car will stay cool enough. The fill on the radiator is significantly lower than the highest point of the cooling system, so there's definitely going to be some air in there, and the fuel smells like it's pretty old, so hopefully we don't have a situation where we got to put 10 degrees of timing in this thing to keep it from knocking. So probably start at a pretty low RPM and work my way up. Someone told me to pull the spark plugs out of it, and I can't work with that, so I think I have a set left. If not, I have to run to the store real quick, but I'm going to throw a set of plugs in there. Somehow I had to get 3 auto parts stores to get 1 set of spark plugs. I'm going to go ahead and throw all these in now. Luckily they actually don't look too bad to get to. Just surprising because everything else is crammed all hell in this thing. These two got a bunch of oil on them. I have to keep an eye on that. It might be done before it even gets started. Gonna have to invent some stuff on these wheel studs. Every now and then you run into a situation where you're like, man, a hub dyno seems like a pain in the butt, but this thing is so low and the fender or the quarters are so sharp and like basically right up against the tires that you know, even if this was on a roller dyno, I think once you strapped it down, you would the tires would be into the quarters and you wouldn't be able to do anything. So it is what it is. You're up against it every now and then, I guess. Alright, between going to get spark plugs and all of this, I'm finally ready to put the dyno back onto the hub, and it's been a little over 2 hours, so today isn't going so hot. This thing shakes and makes all kinds of noise and vibration. Got the fueling pretty close down low. I'm going to try and make some runs. I'm not going to lie, this thing kind of horrifies me. So hopefully, yeah. This thing has some sort of a cam in it, but stock exhaust manifolds, crush bent 2.5-inch exhaust, little injectors. So this thing isn't going to make a whole bunch of power, but hopefully you can just get it running right. It has almost like a little mist to it. This isn't an ideal situation, but I'm just kind of trying to do the best I can with what's presented to me. Well, that's pretty much worst case scenario. The graph looks exactly the way it sounds and feels. It didn't make any power yet, but also didn't rev it very high, but nothing's going to make power running like that. So it just randomly shut off and won't start. I don't know if we got like a blown fuse or what. It's getting an RPM signal. Damn it. That's probably going to be about all we can do until it gets that and a handful of other things straightened out. But I was able to fix his main kind of concern. It's just unfortunate this popped up. I'll look over a couple more little things and see. And then the other thing is the alternator's not working. So all in all, this car's just not ready for the dyno. So I'll give him a to-do list of things to take care of and then probably have him bring it back. As expected, no spark. It's a fuel return. There's not really a whole lot coming out of that. So that's not the problem, but it's going to be a problem. This little tiny ground wire for the fan is like 4,000 degrees. I've also never seen this before, but the exhaust exits all the way back there, but the car right here is like almost too hot to touch. So that's definitely interesting. Yeah, man, this car just needs to be completely rewired. What's ironic is there isn't a lot of stuff in here that like needs to be wired up. So I think that what I would do is just rip everything out and start over again. As far as what he's using for the Terminator X, he basically got a 2 ground wires, a couple power wires, switch 12-volt wire, and then everything else is running through a control panel or a switch panel. So I would just start all over again. So this is a new one. Hopefully you can hear this. Check this out. This wire here is for the crank sensor, and it's going in between the runners on the manifold and resting on the exhaust manifold. But listen when I move it. Ow, just shocked the shit out of me. How do you even manage to do that? Well, yeah, that's going to be game over for this one. So we'll give him a list of things to take care of, and explains everything that I was dealing with. So now I'm probably going to fight for another hour and a half trying to get these wheels and tires back on. So this wasn't the most exciting video, but welcome to a day in the life of tuning cars. Thanks for watching.